Archangel Michael says, they are messages, delicate, sacred transmissions, sent by an ancestor whose soul is bound to your lineage, and who is now trying to protect you from a spiritual storm that's forming in your present life. This ancestor is not someone you knew personally. In fact, they passed long before you were born. But in the spiritual world, time is not linear. And what they faced in their time, you are beginning to face now, in yours. That's why they've returned, not in body, but in spirit. Through symbols, through dreams, through divine nudges in the night. Perhaps you've woken up between 3 o'clock and 4 a.m., sensing someone was in the room. Maybe you felt a sudden emotion when touching an old object, or had chills when hearing a name that meant nothing to you. None of these were random. They were breadcrumbs. Your ancestor has been trying to reach across the veil to get your attention. And if you ignore the message, you may walk into something that was meant to be prevented. Archangel Michael says, the dream you had 3 nights ago, yes, the one that left you breathless and unsure, is the one that carried a hidden code. It was a warning about someone around you whose energy does not belong in your space. Someone pretending. Someone manipulating. You were shown the truth in the dream, and then you forgot. Why? Because spiritual knowledge that is too strong, when received prematurely, can overwhelm the soul. That's why the message comes in fragments, like puzzle pieces. That's why you remember a door, a hallway, a name whispered, but not the full picture. The dream was shielded from your conscious mind until you were spiritually ready. And now, you are. Heaven has decided it is time to unlock what was veiled. This message finds you now because your next decision in real life will have spiritual consequences. The ancestor's voice is growing louder, and Archangel Michael says they will return to your dream very soon. You must be ready. Tonight, before you sleep, pray for clarity. Light a candle. Ask for the dream to return, and be written clearly. Keep a notebook beside your bed. Your answers are coming, not through logic, but through spiritual vision. Type Amen 349 to get blessings. This is not a moment for fear, but for awakening. Your dreams are sacred. Your ancestor is real. And their warning may be the key that saves everything. There is more happening in your life right now than meets the eye. You may feel tension in the atmosphere, people acting strangely, or moments where you sense you're being watched, not by a person, but by something unseen. You may feel drained for no reason, emotionally unsettled even when things seem calm. That's not paranoia. That's spiritual warfare, and Archangel Michael reveals it has everything to do with why your ancestor is reaching out in your dreams. This is not a casual visit from the spirit realm. Your ancestor, perhaps someone you've only heard stories about, or never even knew existed, is fighting for you from beyond. Why? Because the threat that's forming around you has deep roots, stretching back generations. A spiritual battle they fought in their time has resurfaced, and this time, you are the target. There is an unseen force, a spiritual interference, circling your life. It doesn't always look evil. In fact, sometimes it wears a familiar face, a friend, a relative, a lover. It might even be someone who recently re-entered your life with good intentions, or so it seemed. But your ancestor sees beyond the surface. They recognize this energy. They once confronted it, and now it's returned, hoping to finish what it started. Archangel Michael says, this is a battle for your purpose. For your voice. For your inheritance. There are blessings and breakthroughs with your name on them, but dark energies often rise up just before the blessing manifests, hoping to delay or destroy it. That's why the dream messages have intensified. That's why you felt the spiritual pressure increasing. Type Amen 5948 to get blessings. This person or force may not even know they're being used. They may be unaware that their actions, words, or presence around you are triggering a series of events tied to a generational curse or unfinished spiritual contract. That's why it's not just a matter of confrontation, it's a matter of spiritual discernment. Your ancestors' warning is not just about protecting you from harm. It's about helping you see what's really going on behind the scenes. Your life right now is the stage, but the battle is happening in the invisible realm. The enemy is hoping you stay asleep, distracted, doubting your instincts. But the dream was your wake-up call. Archangel Michael urges you now to stay spiritually alert. Pay attention to patterns, repeated symbols, dreams, emotions, and people who bring peace, or confusion. You'll begin to notice that certain individuals drain you, confuse you, or keep you locked in cycles that don't align with your growth. These are not coincidences. And this is where your power returns. You can break the cycle your ancestor couldn't. You can finish what they started. But only if you listen, act, and protect your spiritual gates. Prayer. Boundaries. Clarity. These are your tools. The battle is real, but you are not alone. Your ancestor is fighting beside you. Archangel Michael is standing guard. Now it's your turn to fight back, with light, truth, and discernment. There's something strange about the dream you had, not just the one last night, but one from a few weeks ago, or maybe even years ago. It lingers in your memory like a puzzle with missing pieces. You saw something. You felt something. Maybe a voice spoke to you, or a place appeared that felt familiar though you've never been there. And then, it faded. Almost as if the dream itself erased your memory when you woke up. This wasn't accidental. Type Amen 39,845 to get blessings. Archangel Michael says. Reveals something mysterious and powerful. Your dream was encrypted. Your ancestors showed you a spiritual truth, a warning or prophecy, but part of it was intentionally hidden from your conscious mind. Why? Because you weren't spiritually ready to receive it in full. Some truths, if revealed too soon, can destabilize you. That's why the higher realms often veil divine messages in symbols, shadows, and emotion. It's not to confuse you, it's to protect you. Archangel Michael says the dream you had wasn't meant to be understood all at once. It was meant to be remembered in pieces, and activated at the right moment. And that moment, is now. Start to recall what you saw. A hallway with flickering lights. A locked door. A staircase that kept shifting. A figure watching from afar. These weren't meaningless images, they were spiritual metaphors, encoded signs. Your ancestor used them to guide your spirit while bypassing your conscious resistance. Have you noticed how certain feelings from that dream reappear during the day? Maybe you suddenly feel cautious around a certain person, or your heart races when you enter a specific room. That's the dream trying to reactivate. That's your soul remembering what your mind has forgotten. Archangel Michael urges you now, begin decoding. Write down everything you can remember. Even one color, one phrase, one symbol. Every detail matters. One seemingly small element, like a coin, a tree, a mirror, may hold an entire message within it. You already received the warning. You just didn't recognize it at the time. And because of that, you may have allowed someone into your life or agreed to something that's quietly shifting your spiritual alignment. But it's not too late. Type Amen 785 to get blessings. Your ancestor has been working behind the scenes, prompting the dream to return. They are trying again. You may even notice similar dreams repeating, just slightly different each time. That's not déjà vu. That's divine repetition. Tonight, before you sleep, speak aloud. I am ready to receive the full message. I welcome the clarity and the guidance of my ancestor. Archangel Michael, protect this spiritual transmission. Leave a journal by your bed. Don't wait until morning to write things down, record anything you recall the moment you wake up, even in the dark. The smallest piece may unlock the entire vision. You were shown a spiritual truth. Now you must remember it. Your future, and your protection, depends on what you do next. Archangel Michael says. Somewhere in your life, there is a symbol, a forgotten object, a recurring image, or even a family saying, that holds more spiritual meaning than you realize. You've seen it before, maybe in a photo album, a piece of jewelry, or a dream. You may have dismissed it. But Archangel Michael reveals, this symbol is the thread that links you directly to the ancestor who's been trying to reach you. It could be a necklace tucked away in a drawer, an old handwritten letter, a peculiar phrase your grandmother used to say, or a design that shows up again and again, on clothing, in dreams, or carved into a family heirloom. It could even be a number or color that follows you. These are not coincidences. They are divine fingerprints left by the soul of someone whose spirit still walks beside you. This ancestor once held a spiritual gift, prophetic dreams, healing hands, unshakable intuition, or a quiet power to protect others. They didn't always speak about it, but they lived it. And before they left this world, they imprinted their energy into something physical, a symbol, a token, or a repeating sign. That energy has now found its way to you, calling your attention. Type Amen 4908 to get blessings. Have you ever felt drawn to an object without knowing why? Felt peace when holding something old? Or noticed how a particular symbol makes you emotional, even though you can't explain it? That's the spiritual connection activating. Archangel Michael says this is not imagination, it's recognition. Here's where the mystery deepens. The ancestor who left this symbol for you was silenced in their lifetime. Either misunderstood, overlooked, or even betrayed, they carried a sacred message that couldn't be spoken out loud. But now, through you, their message is rising. You are the one chosen to complete the work they began, and the symbol is your proof. Twist, that useless item you nearly gave away or threw out. It's the very item carrying their spiritual code. This symbol is also a key. When meditated upon, prayed over, or even placed under your pillow, it can open the dream realm even more. It serves as an antenna, pulling divine messages and ancestral memory into your consciousness. You'll begin to notice more clarity in your dreams, deeper emotion in your reflections, and spiritual direction unfolding more quickly. Archangel Michael instructs you now, find the symbol. Cleanse it. Honor it. If it's an object, hold it and speak gratitude. If it's an image, draw it. If it's a word or phrase, speak it aloud and feel how your spirit responds. This small act of recognition sends a clear message to the spiritual realm. I am awake now. I remember. And when you do this, don't be surprised if the dreams return, with greater detail, and deeper truth. Your ancestor will know the connection has been re-established. You were not left alone. You were left with a guide, a sign, an anchor. Now, it's your time to carry it forward. Type Amen 394 to get blessings. Archangel Michael says, you may be wondering, if this warning was so important, why didn't I receive it earlier? Why now? Why in this moment, after everything you've already been through? Archangel Michael gently reveals that this was not a delay, it was divine timing. And more than that, it was spiritual warfare. Your ancestor has been watching over you for a long time. They've tried, more than once, to step in. But the spiritual realm is governed by divine laws. Warnings, guidance, even protection, can only be delivered when your soul is open enough to receive and recognize it. There were seasons in your past when your energy was too clouded, by pain, distraction, relationships, or internal doubt. At that time, even if the message came, you wouldn't have recognized it for what it was. You might have thought it was just a weird dream. You may have dismissed the feeling, or even rejected it out of fear. You were not spiritually available. But now, something has shifted in you. You've grown. You've been waking up to the truth that the material world is not all there is. You've begun noticing synchronicities. Your intuition has gotten stronger. Even if your heart still aches from certain betrayals, your spirit is awakening, and that changes everything. Your ancestor has been watching over you for a long time. They've tried, more than once, to step in. But the spiritual realm is governed by divine laws. Warnings, guidance, even protection, can only be delivered when your soul is open enough to receive and recognize it. There were seasons in your past when your energy was too clouded, by pain, distraction, relationships, or internal doubt. At that time, even if the message came, you wouldn't have recognized it for what it was. You might have thought it was just a weird dream. You may have dismissed the feeling, or even rejected it out of fear. You were not spiritually available. But now, something has shifted in you. You've grown. You've been waking up to the truth that the material world is not all there is. You've begun noticing synchronicities. Your intuition has gotten stronger. Even if your heart still aches from certain betrayals, your spirit is awakening, and that changes everything. And yet, there's another reason you weren't warned sooner. One more serious. Someone around you has been spiritually blocking your messages. Archangel Michael says there is, or was, a person in your life whose energy created interference. This may not have been intentional. In fact, they may have seemed helpful or supportive. But their presence introduced spiritual noise, doubt, confusion, misalignment. As long as they were close, your ancestor could not reach you directly. Type Amen 395 to get blessings. This may explain why certain relationships fell apart suddenly, why you felt disconnected, or why certain chapters had to close in painful ways. Heaven removed what was blocking you, even when you didn't understand at the time. It was for this moment. So your heart could be clear. So your dream gate could open. Here's the twist, your ancestor did try to reach you, but their message was diverted. There was a night when you woke up feeling off. Your heart raced. You couldn't breathe. You thought it was stress. But in truth, they came, but were pulled back by divine restraint. It wasn't the right time. Now it is. The gate has opened. The barrier has fallen. Your ancestor's voice is growing louder. And Archangel Michael confirms, you have been chosen not just to hear the message, but to act on it. But there's urgency here. The gate doesn't stay open forever. If you wait too long, the clarity may dim again. This is the moment to listen, to respond, to awaken fully. Pray. Cleanse your space. Ask for divine protection before bed. Your dream tonight may reveal everything. You weren't forgotten. You were being prepared. And now, you are ready to know what they've been trying to say all along. You were born into more than just a family. You were born into a spiritual lineage, a sacred thread woven across time and generations. Archangel Michael reveals that deep within your bloodline, beneath the stories, struggles, and secrets, there is a prophecy. A divine assignment passed from soul to soul, waiting for the one bold enough to carry it forward. Type Amen 394 to get blessings. That one, is you. Archangel Michael says. Your ancestor didn't just appear in your dream to deliver a warning. They came to pass the torch, to remind you of who you really are and why your life has always felt a little different. Have you noticed how others in your family have followed patterns, repeated cycles, or made similar mistakes? Yet something in you always felt a pull to break free, to rise higher, to do things differently. That is not rebellion. That is spiritual memory awakening inside you. Long ago, your ancestor received a vision, of healing, protection, leadership, or spiritual insight, but they could not fulfill it fully in their lifetime. Maybe they were silenced by oppression. Maybe they were betrayed. Maybe they were ahead of their time. So they left the message hidden, buried in symbols, prayers, stories, and now, in you. Archangel Michael reveals, you carry the spiritual DNA of a warrior. This doesn't mean you fight with your fists, it means you battle through darkness with light, through confusion with truth, through generational pain with healing. You were born into this exact bloodline to become the one who breaks the curse and unlocks the blessing. And this is what the enemy has feared all along. Yes, the enemy has always known who you are. That's why you faced attacks since childhood. That's why you've been betrayed when you least expected it, misunderstood when you were simply speaking truth, and felt spiritual heaviness you couldn't explain. The closer you get to the prophecy's activation, the more resistance you'll feel. Here's the twist, a major choice is approaching. Within the next 14 days, you'll be asked to choose between comfort and calling, between repeating a familiar pattern or stepping into unfamiliar power. This decision will either activate the prophetic blessing in your bloodline, or delay it again. But take heart. Your ancestor believes in you. Heaven believes in you. And Archangel Michael is surrounding you with divine protection, clearing the path ahead. To activate this prophecy, you must type Amen 3994 to get blessings. Acknowledge your role in the spiritual history of your family. Reject the cycles of fear, silence, and shame that have plagued past generations. Step boldly into your divine identity, even when others don't understand it. You are not here by accident. You were born at this time, in this generation, because your soul said yes to the assignment. The dream was not just a message. It was a reminder of the spiritual destiny already inside you. Your ancestor passed the mission to you. Now it's your turn to rise. Now that the message has reached you, what happens next is crucial. Your ancestor has done everything possible to open this spiritual channel. Archangel Michael has cleared the interference. The dream has come. The signs are active. But now it's your move, because messages from the spirit realm mean little if you don't take action in the physical world. You might be asking, how do I decode a message from a dream? How do I take something spiritual and make it real? Type Amen 789 to get blessings. Archangel Michael says it begins with attention. Not anxiety. Not fear. Just simple, sacred attention. The divine speaks in patterns, repetition, and symbols. Go back to your recent dreams and write down everything, no matter how small. A shape. A color. A phrase. A person's name. The sound of wind. A flickering light. These are not random, they are spiritual brushstrokes forming a hidden picture. Take a moment each day to sit with these images. Breathe. Ask your ancestor. What are you showing me? What must I understand? Archangel Michael says. Then wait. The message will rise, not through logic, but through a quiet inner knowing. That sudden, gut feeling, that unexpected clarity, that's how they speak. It's not about forcing an interpretation. It's about receiving one. If you're ready to go deeper, Archangel Michael recommends you take 3 simple but powerful steps. Type Amen 394 to get blessings. Place a notebook, pen, and a small ancestral object, like a photo, heirloom, or symbol, near your bed. Each night before sleep, say, I welcome divine guidance. I receive the messages meant for me. I remember what I need to know. Then, when you wake, even if it's 3 a.m., write anything you remember. Words. Colors. Numbers. Emotion. The decoding begins here. If your energy or environment is clouded, the message becomes distorted. Cleanse your space. Light a white candle. Use frankincense, sage, or sandalwood. Speak aloud. I clear away all energy that blocks truth. I welcome only messages from the divine and my sacred ancestors. Your clarity will sharpen. Dreams are guidance. But transformation only happens when you act. Is there someone you need to distance yourself from? A project you're being nudged to start? A truth you've been afraid to face? The dream is pushing you to act. The moment you take one step forward, the next message will follow. Archangel Michael says. Your ancestor has already shown you part of what's coming next. But until you act on the first layer, the next cannot be revealed. Think of it like unlocking a hidden chapter in a sacred book, the next page turns only when you respond. This is not a time for delay. This is a divine window of opportunity, and it won't stay open forever. So act. Speak. Write. Pray. Clear your space. Listen not just with your ears, but with your soul. Type Amen 394 to get blessings. The message is alive. The dream is real. And your ancestor is waiting for your response. The dream was not just a warning. It was an invitation. An invitation to break something old, and awaken something sacred. Because woven within your bloodline is both a wound and a blessing, and Archangel Michael reveals that the very act of you hearing this message, feeling this moment, and responding to the dream is already shifting the spiritual landscape for your entire family line. There is a wound in your family, a pattern that keeps repeating across generations. It may show up as betrayal, loss, fear, poverty, illness, abandonment, or self-sabotage. You may not have understood it before. You may have just thought, "Why does this always happen to us?" But now you know. It's a generational wound, a spiritual rupture that was never fully healed. And your ancestor, perhaps the very one who suffered under this wound most, has come to guide you in completing the healing they never could. You may be the first in your line to fully face this. To name it. To feel it. To end it. Type Amen 294 to get blessings. You are not just breaking cycles, you are opening a path. And once the wound is acknowledged, felt, and spiritually addressed, the blessing that was buried beneath it will rise. This is the mystery your ancestor carried. This is why they came to you in the dream. Not to bring fear, but to bring release. Because here's the sacred twist. The blessing was always there. It was just locked beneath pain, shame, silence, and spiritual blindness. And now, because you're listening, it is being unlocked. Archangel Michael says, a blessing is already forming around you. It may come as a financial breakthrough, a divine connection, unexpected peace, or a new level of spiritual authority. It may appear as a sudden ending followed by something beautifully unexpected. Whatever it is, it's tied to your yes. Your willingness to do what others before you could not. You must now seal this chapter with a simple but sacred act. Tonight, light a candle in honor of your ancestor. Speak their name, or say, "To the one who came before me, thank you. I release the pain you carried. I receive the blessing you protected. It is safe now. We are free." Type Amen 2904 to get blessings. Then speak your intention aloud. I welcome the divine inheritance that belongs to me. I open my heart to the miracles waiting on the other side of this healing. Let the blessing fall like rain. In that moment, a generational shift will begin. Chains will fall. Spiritual blockages will break. And blessings long delayed will start moving toward you, swiftly, silently, supernaturally. You were chosen to receive this dream. You were chosen to complete this healing. You were chosen to walk in this blessing. Your ancestor is proud of you. Heaven is watching. And the next chapter of your life is where everything changes. Type Amen 329 to get blessings.